The situation in Gaza is like nothing I've ever seen. We have seen footage of rows of infant babies dead, sprawled out like toys. We have seen footage of Israeli forces entering into hospitals, dressed as doctors and nurses, with assault rifles under their garments and assassinating patients. We have seen weapons being used that we never even knew existed. Ones that have giant rotating blades that pierce into buildings and rip up like shrapnel every single human being inside. And we have seen the deceased bodies of young, innocent children torn up from such weapons. That was the response to the International Court of Justice, to the charge of genocide, to rob the people of the only means of survival that they have, and now there is famine. There are children that we have seen eating grass to survive, drinking stagnant water from the ground. We know that there is more than 1 million people packed into an area the size of London Heathrow Airport, where they are now bombing. This is all happening in the context of a long military occupation, an apartheid state, where there has been ethnic cleansing, starvation as a method of warfare, collective punishment, the worst possible crimes that could possibly be committed are being committed right in front of our eyes, and our very government is complicit, providing military, financial and diplomatic support, and then cut off funding to the one institution that is actually providing aid. How dare they? Politicians have power because you give it to them. They represent you, not the other way around. If you are represented by a politician that is not, at the very least was to call for a ceasefire, are they speaking on your behalf? If they're not speaking on your behalf, then let them know. Don't vote for these parties that are calling for more genocide, for more war. We saw them lie about the war in Iraq. We know that this country lied to us about why the Iraq war was going to happen. They said there was going to be weapons of mass destruction. They went to war in Iraq and killed 1 million people. The Labour Party and the Conservative Party. Many of us have carried on voting for them. You know what we told them? We said, we don't mind. That was okay, 1 million, maybe 3 million is my cut-off point. We carried on voting for the same parties that bombed Iraq, bombed Libya, bombed Syria, bombed Yemen. What have we told these parties? That we don't care? That we don't matter? Are we proving to them that we don't matter? Write to your Member of Parliament. Lobby. Who was it that colonised our lands? Who was it that called us beastly savages? Who is it that called us uncivilized barbarians? Who is it that treated us as inferior people? It was the Empire. The empire that divided our lands and exploited our resources and treated us as second-class subjects. We are the children of that arrogant, barbaric empire that decimated our lands. We know what it's like when our rights and dignities have been robbed. We know what it's like to be silenced, to be discriminated against, to be told that we don't matter. We know what that's like. So we must have solidarity with those people who are right now suffering genocide, because we are with them, we know their suffering, and they are us. We are not different to them. And we know who the enemy is. I was in Jordan, Amman, for the last 6 weeks, and I joined protests on New Year's Eve. And we counted down to midnight to say that this year was going to be the year of resistance, the year of liberation, and we united with Arabs in Jordan to say we are with you, and we will not back down, and we will not stop, not just until there is a ceasefire, but until the land is claimed and the justice that has always been deserved has been claimed, and apartheid ends and occupation ends. We have had enough. It is time for us now to realise that. We are done being called savages. We are done being called barbarians. We now know who the real savages and barbarians are. It is not us. Those who defy the very rules that that they say were important, those who are breaching and complicit in the genocide, they are the barbarians and savages. We are calling for nothing short of compliance with the rules. So we're done. Who is it that took Israel to the International Court of Justice? It was South Africa. The same people that they were called barbarians and savages also. I've had an awakening. We are not the barbarians and savages. We are people of peace. We are people of Islam. We are people of the book. We are people who stick up against oppression. We are people who help each other. We are, in this community, mechanics, builders, plumbers, engineers, doctors, nurses, politicians, people who provide the transport, who run this country. We have the power. It is not those who speak in Westminster who have the power. We run this country. We are the ones whose rights and dignities we call to be respected. We are not the savages. We are the lifeblood of this country, and it is time for us to recognize that and stand up.